should be a good show.
Yep.
He's been doing well in the tournament so far and it's gone 2-0. Fairly uncontested so far, so we'll see if Starcrunsher can manage to change that a bit.
Yeah, well, she'll see. Revo is very fun to watch. He plays very aggressively, goes for a lot of very fast strats. Oh, looks like the race is starting.
Off we go straight to the prologue. So, do you want to explain just the basic mechanics real quick?
Yeah, sure. So Celeste has 3 basic moves. You have your jump, you have your grab, and you have your dash. In prologue, you only have jump and grab. So we see a lot of hopping here because every jump saves 2 frames. So if you jump a lot in the prologue, you can save about a second.
Also used, I think Revolution used some, used corner boost here. They give you a little boost of speed. It'll be used a couple times later, probably by Revo, to get some huge momentum from some certain jumps. So look out for corners; they can be really cool.
Yep, it's one of the hardest tricks, hardest speed techs to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. So heading in here to Forsaken Shader, we're gonna see just a lot of fast movement. So keep a lookout because it's gonna go by fast. So we're gonna see a whole bunch of hyper jumps or hyper dashes, my bad. Down diagonal dashes into the ground, followed by a jump, which gives you a low and very fast jump.
Very nice save by Starcrunsher there.
Oh yeah, that was a very cool thing. And you see in Revolution's screen right there, he does, and on Starcrunsher he's doing wall bounces, which is basically a hyper dash, but you're doing upwards to gain a lot of extra height. Allows you to clear some really nice gaps.
Right. I'm not sure we actually explained hyper dashes yet. Basically, if you dash and then jump, you get a big burst of speed in the air, and that's going to be one of the main techs that's used to get across spaces quickly. There are a couple of variations of it. Some gives you more height, one gives you more speed.
Yeah. So, blazing through this chapter 1, Revolution actually having some unfortunate deaths and currently is behind Starcruncher. But hopefully, or not hopefully, but he should be able to get that back in later chapters, because that's when the differences between top runners will really come to show.
Yep. You may have noticed earlier on Revo's screen, he used the momentum from one of those traffic blocks to get a huge boost across the chasm.
Yeah, that's going to be used a lot. So now on Revo's screen as well, you see the neutral wall jumps. So normally you have a stamina meter when you climb walls, but if you wall jump, you don't lose stamina, and you can wall jump without a directional input, and then smack that control stick right back into the wall to be able to gain a little bit of height with each jump and clear some huge walls.
Yeah, it's a pretty slow way of climbing a wall without using any stamina, but it lets you get past some sections that would otherwise cost you more time.
Yeah. So now moving into chapter 2, which introduces some new mechanics, just like all chapters do. So we see these starry blocks that are very colorless right now, but soon they will be activated and become true dream blocks, which we'll see some interesting uses of. So right there you see a little bit of glitch there on Starcruncher screen, where if you actually pause and skip the cutscene while your Y coordinate is above the bottom of that dream block, you can actually just spawn inside of it and having to skip to a little jump and dash to get to it.
It's one of the only glitches that's used in the speedrun, and it probably saves like a second.
Yeah, so not much, but it's still something, so people will use it, of course.
So the players are now being chased by Battlein, who appears, and she moves 3 seconds behind you and copies every move you make, like Shadow Rayman or something.
Or Shadow Mario from the Mario games. Same concept. And it's, of course, it may seem like these runners are so fast that they won't even have to deal with Battlein. Especially in the stage that's coming up now, for Revolution especially. And the next one is going to be quite difficult to navigate because she does copy exactly every input you do, so she does go very fast as well. But so far both runners are alive and well.
Yeah, this is a very excellent ult site for both runners.
So coming out now from the Battleline chase, we're moving into the little awake section very soon. It's going to be these screens almost exactly the same again, just without dream blocks, because we were actually sleeping during this, and now we wake up and have to go back to the lessons again for some reason. It's lore.
So once the chase is over, there's pretty much no danger of dying anymore, but this is still quite a challenge for speedrunners to get through these this terrain using the least amount of time possible. Very nice ultras by Revo there.
Yeah, he's blazing through this very fast. So even though this section might look easy, to do it fast can be a bit tricky, just because of the precise jumps and easily getting accidental corner boosts. So
Accidental corner boost, accidentally getting stuck on one of the walls. Yeah,
there's a lot of things. But here we go for Resort. So Resort is the cycle-based section of this video game, which we all know and love. Has these dust bunnies that move on set cycles. There's 2 cycles, one for death and one for entry. So most runners are hopefully only going to see the entry cycles, but most runners have to actually learn all these rooms twice to be able to have backup strats just in case something goes wrong.
Chapter 3, which is the Celestial Sword, is one of the first big difficulty jumps in the game for casual players. It's a bit hard to tell because all the cutscenes are getting skipped, but as we go through this hotel, we are talking to the hotel manager, Mr. Oshiro, who is going to be giving us some problems later.
Yeah, for now, just know that if you see a ghost man, he's going to be bad very soon, so just keep him in mind. Here we see I think this is the first use of block switches in the game. We just basically have to collect these coins throughout the room in order to move certain blocks or doors. So it's going to be used more in later levels as well. And of course, there are these keys that open doors, like keys do, and these are going to be used. It's going to have an interesting strategy with them later on.
Whoever has just entered the huge mess screen, very annoying screen to navigate when you're speedrunning. So there are 3 types of items here. There's books, boxes, and towels. And Madeline now has to clean up all 3 of those items by hitting different buttons in different sections throughout the hotel.
We're doing a nice little ultra dash, which we actually haven't played. So ultra dashes are using a hyper dash and then followed by a down angle dash. Conserves, I think, all of the momentum from the hyper dash, or at least most of it, and allows to traverse a pretty huge distance downwards with just a lot of speed. Revo uses it quite frequently, if I remember right from watching him. So keep an eye out for those. If you just see him go diagonally down very fast, so that's an ultra.
Yep. Using ultras and corner boosts is pretty important if you want to get those like sub 33 times.
Yeah, if you want to play with one of the big boys, you have to learn the hard strats.
So you can actually do these 3 sections in any order, but most speedrunners will use this particular sequence of rooms just because of the way Oshiro set up when you leave the segment. We just want to reduce as much as possible the time we spend navigating through that big hub in the middle.
Yeah, so Oshiro always spawns in set order any way you're doing, so it's important. So Revo is now in the last section of the huge mess here. Getting those towels down. Yeah, they both are actually. No, that's
it's
true.
Pretty amazing how well Starcrunsher has caught up so far.
Absolutely, he's been doing really, really well so far. So might be closer than we expected at first. So that's really nice to see. We're now finishing up, talking to Oshiro again, and then going into the elevator shaft here. It's gonna be more cycles and more lock switches, and maybe we'll see an ultra right here. Let's see if the yep, here, there's an ultra. Just a bunch of speed right there, blazing through that room like it's absolutely nothing. It's great. Starcrunsher not far behind, also going up to the elevator shaft right about now.
So this section that Revo is in now and that Star is just entering has a lot of very long rooms, which are very punishing to die in.
And we'll see some of you in longer rooms soon in the when Oshiro turns bad. Spoiler alert. So next room you want to pay attention because it's going to be very fast, hopefully. Chaining hypers there. Very nice by Revo. So there's with the key that I tried to mention earlier. You can actually retry with the key and still keep it on death and you can skip going back to the room. It's used in 2 places in the race. That was the first one, obviously. It's used in the last, or second to last section of the game as well.
Alright, Revo is now being chased by Mr. Oshiro in ghost form, and basically just tracks your vertical position on the screen, and every once in a while he charges forward at you.
Star also entering now, just like 2 moves behind, I think. So he's really doing well. It's really nice to see. Hopefully he can keep this up for the race, because that would make for an interesting show.
Yeah, I'd say Starcruncher is doing very well, and Revo is actually not doing as well, I think, as he usually does. Seeing a lot of deaths from him that I normally wouldn't expect.
Yeah, you gotta agree. Still by no means a bad time, but I think he's a bit frustrated, if I know Revo well. But still finishing up that with a, I think it was a 5:20 something time, if I remember, so that's alright.
Definitely a
5:25, yeah.
time.
Still a really good time. Star Wars is getting into the last room now. Still gonna get a sub 6 sound, which is really good still. Losing a little bit more time here. As I said, the later chapters are really when the time differences are gonna shine, if that makes sense.
Very nice entrance cycle last Oshiro room for Star there.
Yeah, doing that very well. Getting that sub 5 as well. So that's really nice. Only like 30 seconds behind, which is really good for him. So Revo is now in the Cold Ridge, just flying through the zoo. Do you want to go ahead and explain the basics here?
Yeah, sure. So Golden Ridge has these clouds, which are like trampolines. They have this wind, which pushes against you, either back or forward. It also kind of kills the bit rate.
Yeah.
And then we have, let's see, we have the bubbles, which basically act as a secondary dash in the air. They also refresh your dash when you come out of them. Oh, and now on Revo's screen we see these moving platforms as well, and some of them are controllable.
Yeah. So what Revo did there as well is a spike wall jump. It was also used in the huge mess part, but we actually forgot about it. You can wall jump underneath spikes and be moving away from them when you hit their hitbox. And spikes in this game don't actually. Oh, look at Revo's screen right now.
Oh, he did
Gets
it!
that. An auto-scroller skip without the block. That's an incredibly hard trick to do. You have to do a hyper dash into a bunny hop. It's a very precise thing. Usually you would use the moving block to get enough momentum. So that was really nice for Revo.
Yeah, that was an amazing trick.
So anyway, spike jumps. If you are moving away from spikes, they won't actually hurt you. So by jumping underneath, we will actually be moving away from the spikes when we're about to hit them, and thus not get killed.
Yep.
Star also now coming up on that section. We're probably gonna see him do the normal way, going for that block. Yeah.
There were a few variations of this. He'll probably go for. Oh, looks like he's going for the extended hyper method.
Yeah,
Just a fraction of a second slower than the bunny hop method.
Yeah. Revo now on the second auto-scroller. There is technically a skip here, but it's absolutely not RTA viable by any means. It has about like I think 5 pixel perfect jumps.
But I couldn't imagine anyone actually. It has been done by a human being, but I couldn't imagine anyone trying it in like a race setting.
No, it's incredibly risky and it's absolutely not worth it. So Revo's now going to enter the harsh wind section here, which normally you would only be able to walk a couple of pixels per second, but because we have all these dash mechanics to our usage, you will still be able to go through this really fast. And we'll also meet our friends the snowballs, which I'm sure no speedrunners ever had problems with ever. That was sarcastic, but I'm assuming you understood that.
So yeah, the snowballs come from the right of the screen, and like Oshiro, they track your vertical position. But since they're heading straight at you in the direction you're going, then it's gives you a little less time to get out of their way.
Absolutely. And Revo's now on the second to last screen here, I believe so.
A couple failed attempts on that bubble ultra, so it just went the normal way.
Gets it now on the.
Oh,
what the heck? What is Revo? Someone stop this man! Dang.
Revo is always fun to watch because of these weird little tricks he does. That probably just saved a couple frames there, but.
It's very cool to see. So now he's moving into Mirror Temple. So Mirror Temple has even more mechanics because all the stages do. So first we're gonna see some dash platforms which just move on their trajectory when the player dashes, like that. We have these red bubbles that go like this, just infinitely in whatever direction you want, until you either dash out of them or they hit a wall. And later we're gonna meet some new friends as well.
Very nice skip there by Revo. The double wave dash lets you skip a couple of rooms over to the left.
Oh yeah, that was very smooth. Good job there. So this section also introduces these switches, which is just another way to unlock doors. Oh, he's going!
He got it.
Oh my god! Revo! The crazy strats! That is a ridiculous trick to go for.
You just know.
He's going for double bubble skip.
Double bubble skip.
Okay, he decides so.
Not gonna go for it again.
Revo needs to calm that down. This is... God damn. Okay, so
watching that
what he did there earlier... Sorry, what?
I was just saying how awesome it is to see that actually be carried out.
Yeah. So what he did there is there's a little dash block, and he used that with like I think it's just a couple of frames you had to work with to do a hyper jump off, and then perfectly bunny hop off a small platform and get all the way up there with just a huge amount of speed and then skip the next room. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so now we're gonna meet our new friends here. Do you want to go ahead and talk about the Seekers?
Sure. So Seekers are these little Cthulhu eyeball things that that follow you around, try to charge at you. This section that Revo's in is basically a tutorial teaching you how they work. That actually lets you control it so you can see for yourself. Yeah, they run into you, you die, you can bop on their head, and they can run into red blocks and destroy them for you.
So if you saw on Star's screen, he actually did a fun little cutscene skip. Also, he's also doing that strategy.
He went for it. He didn't get the corner boost.
He didn't get the corner
Still
boost, but
impressive.
still gets that really nicely. What he did earlier was he did a sort of similar cutscene skip as in Chapter 2. And actually skipped time to go around and press the button and just spawn on top of it instead.
Yeah, it's a very cool trick. It's much harder to pull off than the one in Chapter 2, though, so good on him for getting that one.
Yeah, it's really nice. So Rev is now full in the unraveling section with all these Seekers. So he's gonna use Seekers in a couple of interesting ways. You can actually manipulate him to use these switches for you. So just keep an eye out. He's gonna basically trick them into going where he wants them to instead of where they want to go, which is eating him. Star is also still keeping really good pace. Just entering the Seeker section now. So the unfortunate retry there by Revo.
That one isn't very punishing, at least.
Yeah, there's a lot worse.
What happened basically is there are a lot of cutscenes in this game, all the runners are skipping them, but the same key combination to skip the cutscene will also kill you and retry if you haven't hit the cutscene trigger yet. So you have to be really sure that you actually hit the cutscene trigger before you do that.
And I think
that can be really bad to accidentally retry on some of these screens.
Yeah, I think Revo knows that better than most people because he's semi-famous in the community for doing that in a couple of incredibly unfortunate places.
Like the very end of the game, while at PB pace. 3
times. It's really... I don't know if he's angry about it or not, but it's at least a bit funny to us. Star also doing some really nice manipulation.
Watching Revo's Theo movement is always such a joy. He probably has the best Theo movement out of any of the runners, including even like the number one. So Theo basically isn't a crystal. You can't dash while you're holding him, but you need to get him to the exit of all these rooms. So what you can do is you can throw him and then dash and then catch him, so to keep your momentum up. So the movement feels a lot different in this section. It's pretty difficult for a lot of people.
For me, at least, it was probably the most frustrating thing to learn. So seeing it done just so beautifully by Web was incredibly impressive. Entering now the last room. This is also a really annoying room because the eye at the end is going to send out pulses, which you can't dash through, but it's kind of precise. But he just flies right through it, and it's gone. It's done before you can even see it.
Yeah, very nice Mirror Temple by Revo.
Star still keeping fairly good pace, entering
Yeah.
Theo now. It's
This is a great
it's
run
actually
for
really
him.
interesting. So we might actually hopefully see another PB. Cool.
I think there's a good chance of that. We'll see what happens.
So Revo now entering the reflection, and this has even more new mechanics. We have a new feather here, which lets it fly for a bit, either until it runs out or until we dash. Revo now going for leg skip, gets it instantly
try.
first try. That's a
Very impressive.
fairly precise trick, which lets you skip having to go around using one of the Kevin blocks to crush a wall. So these are Kevin blocks as well. You can dash into them, and then they'll move as long as they can in the direction that you bonk them in.
So the official name for those things is crusher blocks, I believe, but the community calls them Kevins because of the wonderful man at Power Up Audio who made the sound effects for them.
Yeah, it's I so prefer calling them Kevin blocks because how can you not appreciate that noise? It's great. Quality commentary, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice little skip by Revo there. You can get that crumpling block out of the way before the Kevin actually reaches it. Saves a couple seconds.
He does a really precise wall bounce there at the end. Just really risky for no reason, but being Revo, he just pulls it off.
Are you talking about the wall bounce from that big, tall, skinny one?
Yeah, but he did it like
That
from the
one's
very
actually
top.
really easy.
So.
Try
Yeah, but he did it from
sometime,
like
it's
the very top, right?
Oh,
He did it
okay.
from the very top, so that's
Nice.
because Revo is Revo. Star also now finishing up with Mirror Temple. I can't really see Revo's time. I think he's about 1.5 minutes behind at this point. Actually, the time's a little bit off, so about 2 minutes.
1.5, 2 minutes.
Still, that's incredibly good pace for him. So hopefully, I'll keep this up.
Whoa, I don't know what that was on Revo's screen.
Something weird happened. So we forgot to talk about these bumpers. So these bumpers just send you in the direction opposite to where you hit them, basically. And a trick you saw on the last screen there is that if you hold away on the frame that you hit them, you actually go about twice as far. You're able to skip one of the bumpers in that last room. We're going for a little skip there with the bumpers. Kind of risky, because bumpers can act in some weird way sometimes. But now he's entering start of the bad line chase sequence.
Star has elected not to do like skip.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Not always a bad idea, yeah. Lake skip can save a lot of time.
So it can indeed.
The brief underwater section here.
Thanks, Matt.
Originally, this whole chapter was going to be underwater, and then someone told the devs that no one actually likes that. So
We still have that, just this little reminder of what could have been, and what we're all thankful for isn't there. So we're gonna see a small battle boost there.
Very nice.
Yeah, I guess that's really nice. So getting all of the blocks in this game give you a lot of momentum. So Revo used the momentum from that Kevin block to get just a huge amount of speed and just get straight through battling to the cutscene and getting that first hits in. So the Valiant Chase is just going to be a lot of precise movements and hypers and whatnot.
You could think of it as the final boss of the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
You just run your face into her over and over.
Yeah, headbutts are apparently a very effective way to deal with your problems. I gotta say, I'm really impressed by Star keeping up this good of a pace with Revo, since Revo is, after all, like an incredibly good runner of this game. So it's really cool to see.
Indeed. So battle and hitting her in the boss fight, like many of the other mechanics in the game, gives you your dash back. It's a very nice thing for a lot of these mechanics to do. It gives you a lot more freedom of movement. You see a lot of the tricks that speedrunners use in this fight come very close to like hitting a laser in the face. so you kind of really have to have steel nerves sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Revo's now coming up on the final section, where Badline is going to turn a little bit Super Saiyan and just start moving the round around. Oof, almost gets crushed by that block. That was a bit scary. Managed to avoid that. But she start moving the block around, so there's going to be a lot more momentum things.
On Star's screen right now, we are seeing something we neglected.
Ah, yes. You're right. Go ahead. Berto?
Oh, sorry. Push to talk.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Talk about that.
I was just going to say that the devs put those little holes there to skip a lot of the sections of that room, but you skip a checkpoint by doing that, so it's a little risky.
Skip 2 even. I think, or is it 3? Is it 3? 2 or 3 checkpoints. That you skip there.
Really?
Yeah, there's one on the right and one on the left, so you skip both, and if you mess it up, then it can cost you a lot of time. But
pretty bad death on Revo's side there in a very long room.
That's very unfortunate. Star is also now in the Valley fight, still keeping incredibly good pace. Might very well be on PvP pace actually. Revo now finishing up. We're now going to level up.
Level up.
Bing.
So
now we get a second dash.
Yep.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention the second dash. You have pink hair now, so you're gonna find your newfound powers.
And there you saw the first instance of Battleline boosts. Those are going to be used throughout the next chapter. It's just basically a little boost upwards that Battleline helps you with. Sends you through the different chapters that we're going to face now. So do you want to talk a bit about Summon and how it works?
Sure. So basically in the story what happened was you started off trying to climb the mountain. You were progressively climbing the mountain through chapter 5, and then in chapter 6 at the beginning you were knocked all the way back down to the bottom. So now chapter 7, after leveling up and confronting your problems, you have to climb up the entire mountain again. This time you have 2 dashes, and we're going to go through each section of the game, starting with chapter 6, and then 1 through 5, and then finally the very top.
Okay. So Star also nearing the second segment here of the Badline fight. Losing a little bit of time with Seals. He had a bad death in a couple rooms ago, but he's still keeping fairly good pace. Revo is just already done with the first section, like it never happened.
Yep.
Moving in, which was that was the Reflection version. It's basically like a chapter 0 here. Now moving into Forsaken City, we're gonna see a lot more traffic blocks. Skipping most of them because they're slow. And then yeah, just doing that until the end of the chapter basically. Or the sub-chapter.
So you see, these levels are a lot more open now. When you have your second dash, the levels are now based around it. So there's a lot more room for creative movement with your dashes, and there's a lot more empty space under you.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting on the second last from the Badline fight, so still keeping very good pace. He's been doing really well this race actually. So it's nice to see. Revo now entering the 1000 meter, which in my opinion is the second coolest part of the entire run, because these stream blocks are so damn satisfying. So he's going to use a lot of the stream blocks, just going through them very fast. And I think we forgot to mention that you can actually jump out of these stream blocks to get a little bit of extra height after you go through them. It's going to be used here in this section here a bit.
And not only can you jump out of them, you can also hyper out of them, though it's a pretty difficult trick, but I think Revo will probably try to do some of that.
Yeah, if there's anyone that would, it's definitely him. Star now has finished up with Badline and is keeping it still fairly close. Especially when comparing the RPBs, this is incredibly impressive by him.
It is. And that's chapter 6 done for Star.
Revo finishing up his 1000 meters here. Coming into 1500 meters, it's going to be restored again. This is probably seen as one of the hardest sections in the entire game. It has a lot of precise cycles, and especially if you go for the fast threats, it can be incredibly difficult and very tight. Also, some of the death cycles will actually not allow you to be able to clear the rooms properly.
Yeah, there are a couple of rooms here where if I fail, I just have to just go back to the entrance and try again, because I have no idea how to deal with this death cycle. This room, for example. Very punishing room if you fail.
Yeah, I think some of the longest rooms are probably that room right there, and now this room. Where Revo's going to
Double
use
ultra. Triple
several
ultra.
ultras. Holy cow. Yeah, that strategy is incredibly impressive, and I think it takes that rune down from like 15 seconds down to I think like 5 or something, even less maybe.
Yeah, that room used to be one of the hardest rooms in this section until that strat was discovered. I mean, not that it's any easier now, just faster.
Yeah. So now we're getting switching to the next sections both at the same time. So Star now in 500 and Revo is in 2000 in the Golden Race section. So we're gonna see a couple of cool skips coming up fairly shortly.
Revo taking a little detour here.
Yeah, it's getting one of the
faster to go
strawberries.
this route.
So there are actually the strawberries to collect, but of course it's 80%, so we generally don't care. But just that one strawberry room is actually faster than the normal way.
Excellent snowball room.
Yeah, very well done. Oh, we're just gonna do a small auto-scroll skip here.
Auto-scroller skip here. Yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So he just used the momentum of that moving block to do an extended hyper across that giant gap and all the spikes, and then finishes it off with a little wall bounce off that a little nub on the top. And here we go with the swag.
Damn. Star finishing up 500 now and moving into the resort section. Revo has just a couple of screens there last year for 2000, and then comes my favorite part of top level runners is absolutely 2500 meters. It has a whole ton of huge, really cool skips and just fast movement overall. So be sure to keep an eye for this because this, if I know very well, this is going to be a good one to watch. That's an unfortunate death right in the start there, but
Not too much of a time loss. Whoa, that corner boost.
yeah, that's really cool. So most of these streams forever are just gonna be blink and you'll miss it because it's just gonna. I don't even know. This is just really cool to watch.
We've got a key skip here with a couple neutral jumps.
Yeah, another one of those spike jumps where you move away and Revo's just swagging on this man. Needs to calm down a bit. Coming up, I hope Revo's gonna do door skip.
I don't think there's any way he won't.
Yeah, so door skip is kind of an infamous skip here, where you go underneath these doors. It's a couple of picks you have to work with, but Revo, of course, being Revo, just goes through with absolutely no problems. Damn. Star in 1500 having a bit of troubles here with this this key room here, but gets past it and is moving on now to the long rooms.
And that's it for 2500 for Revo. Now entering 3000 meters, which is the very last section of the game.
Yeah, so this has a bunch of checkpoints up almost everywhere. It goes from 1 to 30, or 30 to 1, sorry. And each checkpoint is both a checkpoint for length, but also for your death. So if you skip checkpoints, we'll probably see him do a couple of times. If he then fails, he'll actually have to go back another checkpoint.
This is one of the best parts casually, because you just got into this long, difficult game, and now you see these flags counting down to 0. It's just a really great feeling.
Yeah, it was definitely a very cool section, and the music by Lena Rain is just absolutely perfect for this. So here he actually has downdraft, so his gravity is going to be a lot higher, his jumps are going to be worse, and also dashes. But he still gets through really quickly because, well, we have speed tech on our side.
And now downdraft turns into updraft. So basically gravity is lowered, you jump higher, you dash higher, you float when you are falling. Which sounds nice, but it can actually be a little bit annoying when you're trying to speedrun and getting. So you'll see Revo, for example, holding down there to make sure he falls a little faster through those floaty sections.
Yeah, so these next couple of checkpoints are probably the longest in the entire run also. And they're incredibly brutal, because most of the hard things are at the very end. So it can be quite easy to fail, especially if you're a bit new to the game. And they can lose you a lot of time, but...
Yep,
oh,
like that.
Yep, like that. Just like that. I have been incredibly consistent at using commentator's curse. So we'll see. But second try, there we go, gets through that. So yeah, section like that can be really, yeah, it's for the safest. But yeah, those things can be very punishing like that if you are unfortunate enough to mess it up. Does the second try there fairly easily, and Star is now on the end of 2000, moving into 2500. Still really close to Revo. He's having a really good run, Star.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that 3,000 meters is like incredibly difficult, but in like a run situation, you're just kind of fatigued at the end of this long string of gaming, and now you feel like it's right at the end, like you're looking at your time in the top left. It can be very stressful, and that can lead to mistakes. Yeah,
absolutely. So even though most of them aren't that hard, there are a couple of like tight squeezes with spikes that can kill you fairly easily. So take that with some nerves of being close to that PB. It can be really easy to mess up still. But Revo is doing mostly a really good job of this so far.
Yep.
Star now on that key skip again with the neutral wall jump. Does it second try. Very nice. Let's see if we see the Revo special here. I'm a bit excited if he does it. He managed to skip the cutscene perfectly.
That's it.
So Revo takes this race. I think this is his third win in a row. So that's very well done for him. Star is on the end of 2500. This is really impressive from Star as well, especially with the caliber of player that Revo is. It's really cool to see.
Trying to figure out if Star could get a PB. I think he's still on track if he gets a good 3,000 meters.
Yep.
But it might be a little difficult.
I'll agree there. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I think we talked about that one skip because there's a small little ledge underneath the clouds there you can actually use to sort of do a wall bounce up there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because you can't actually see the ledge you're wall bouncing off of. Kind of makes you wonder how it was discovered in the first place.
Luck, I'm guessing. I don't remember. So far it's looking like he has a fairly good 3K coming up here to the updraft section now.
Yep, making his way through the flags pretty confidently.
Alright, we're gonna have Revo joining us here for a little bit of an interview, hopefully, if he sees the message.
Yeah.
Hello, Revo. Congratulations on the win there.
Hey, Revo.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you?
Oh,
yep.
Hopefully it's fine now, because I had to cut the stream because my connection with the mobile is not pretty good, so I had to do this. So yeah, that was a very exciting race actually. I promised them to use some spicy strats, and actually I got one of them.
Yeah, the honest roll skip there in chapter 4, I'm assuming you mean?
Yeah, that was. I was not expecting to be honest. I was going for it, and I kind of practice it. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. And this time it worked. So
yeah,
that was cool. That was the first one in the. I did it before Teach, so I'm proud.
Nice there. Yeah, that was really cool to see. I didn't expect it at all. So you did some really cool strats throughout the entire run, which is always entertaining to watch.
Thanks.
Next, you'll have to start going for that second auto-scroller skip, right? Around the spinning block.
I was actually practicing that, but I can't get it. It's super dumb. I'm trying to figure if there is a kind of setup directly with an upper dash below the spike thing, but it's super hard.
Yeah, it's an
hopefully once. It's a kind of trick that just getting it RTA is crazy, so don't expect it to be in an actual run.
Yeah.
No, I'm fully expecting it now.
So Star is just up now, and that's time.
37-27. That's still a really good time.
I'm not sure if it's PV pace for him.
I think his PV was 37-20, so he missed it by about 7 seconds.
37:02, something like that.
37:02.
So a little more than that.
So it's not PV, but actually very close to PV.
Yeah, he held really good pace with you for the entire run, so he did really well. It was very nice to see. But so yeah, he had some spicy stats there in strats, especially in chapter 4 there. So, and your 2,500 meters is really cool to watch as well. Did that door skip first try like that? It's pretty impressive.
I'm 3 of 3 in door skip. I never failed yet. It's my race. I got this first try in all of them. So
yeah,
well, guys, thank you. Great job for commentary. I'll probably watch the battle later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was a really good race.
Really
cool to watch.
Starcrunsher is running, but at least I'm leaving. So thanks everyone for supporting, and see you.
Thanks for racing for us.
I can see that much better. Thanks for racing that. Yeah, it was really cool to watch.
Yep.
So, we have, of course, more Celeste. I believe we have another race coming up just in a couple of minutes, or in 50 minutes here on Speed Gaming 4. It's looking like it's going to be a really good one, so be sure to tune in for that one. And my name is Westy, and I'm going to be going to bed.
Oh, are we going to get a interview with Star as well, or?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far. I don't think so. Should we ask? I'm not sure.
Let's see. I'll ping him and see. So yeah, while we wait to see if Starcruncher will join us, feel free to follow the runners or the commentators. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. All right, Starcruncher has turned down the interview.
Okay, so we'll be heading off. So be sure to check out Speed Gaming 4 in just 50 minutes here for another race. And there's going to be a lot more coming in the following weeks. So be sure to stay tuned to Speed Gaming channels and check the schedule